All right, welcome to What the Tech, the show that cuts right through the noise. Today, we're going after the latest buzzword that's probably all over your feed, and we're going to deliver the hard-hitting analysis that you just won't find anywhere else. So let's just get right into it. The term is quiet cracking, and you've probably seen it popping up everywhere, from those corporate HR emails to your LinkedIn feed. It feels like just the next thing in a long, long line of workplace buzzwords, right? But I think this one might actually be different. And get this, it is not some fringe idea. A recent survey found that a whopping 54%, that's more than half, of all employees say they're going through this right now. Just let that sink in. Look around your office or your next Zoom call. More than half the people there are likely feeling this exact way. So what's the deal? Is this just another employee fad, like quiet quitting 2.0? Or is it something more? A huge warning sign that leadership is completely sleeping on? Well, that's what we're here for. We're going to break down the official definition, and then we are going to cut right through that hype to show you what's actually going on. Okay, so first things first, before we get into our own take, let's cover the official story. What are the experts, the consultants? What are they actually saying quiet cracking is? Okay, so the term comes from a report by Talent LMS, and they define it as the stage that comes right before quiet quitting. Think of it like this. It's that persistent, kind of nagging feeling of unhappiness at work. You haven't started phoning it in yet, doing the bare minimum, but that desire to just get out is bubbling up right under the surface.
And Jim Harder from Gallup, he really nails it. He calls it a kind of limbo. Employees feel totally detached from what they're doing, but at the same time, they feel like there's no easy way out. They are, in a word, stuck.
All right, so that's the official, HR-approved definition, but this is What the Tech. So now it's time for the hard-hitting commentary. Let's peel back all that corporate jargon and look at the cold, hard, structural truth hiding behind this shiny new buzzword. And here it is. This is the real story. The buzzword frames this as a feeling of unhappiness, but the reality? It's chronic disengagement, and it's being fueled by a powerful economic constraint. Look, this isn't some newfangled emotion people just discovered. It's the same old burnout and disengagement we've seen for years, but now it's been supercharged by an economy that basically punishes you for trying to jump ship. So how did this trap get set in the first place? Because it's not just a vibe or a feeling, right? This is a measurable economic reality. And the data shows a fundamental power shift has happened between employees and their bosses. I mean, think back just a couple of years. We were in the middle of the Great Resignation. If you were unhappy at work, no big deal. There were record job openings, so you could just vote with your feet and probably get a nice pay bump for your trouble. But now, fast forward to today, and that whole escape valve has been slammed shut. Job postings are way down, hiring has slowed to a crawl, and people are basically being forced to just sit there and take it. For years, the #1 rule was the fastest way to get a raise is to change your job. We all knew it. But look at this. As of February of this year, that whole equation has completely flipped on its head. For the first time in, a long time, wage growth for people who stay put is actually higher than for people who switch. The financial incentive is gone. That escape hatch has been welded shut, trapping unhappy employees exactly where they are. And this right here is probably the most dangerous part of the whole story. It's how leadership is fundamentally misreading the room. And to be blunt, getting it completely wrong. You hear this narrative that it's an employee issue or that it's a two-way street. No, that's way too soft. Our analysis shows quiet cracking is a direct result of systemic failures in leadership. We're talking unclear goals, ineffective middle management, and hand-fisted cost controls. Let's call it what it is. This is a management problem, not an employee motivation problem. And the price tag for getting this wrong? It's absolutely staggering. Gallup estimates that all this disengagement is costing the U.S. economy close to $2 trillion. That's trillion with a T. But here's the real kicker. Back during the Great Resignation, companies could just throw money at the problem and hire a fresh batch of motivated people. That safety net? It's gone. So for any leaders out there watching this, listen up. This isn't just another crisis to manage. This is a strategic turning point. And the really smart companies, they're going to see this as a massive opportunity. Here's the playbook for how to actually win in this moment. Look, this isn't just about damage control anymore. It's about seizing a really rare opportunity. In the short term, yeah, it's about survival. You've got to figure out where your hidden risk is before it blows up in your face. In the medium term, you've got a captive workforce. This is your chance to re-engage them, to reinvest in them. But the real long-term play? This is the moment to actually fix your broken culture. And the companies that do that now are going to build an insane competitive advantage that will last for years. So we're going to leave you with one final, very stark warning. Quiet cracking is a leading indicator of a crisis, not a lagging one. It's the tremor you feel before the earthquake hits. If leadership waits for this to show up in the quarterly numbers and the official metrics, it's already over. It's way too late. You haven't just lost the quarter. You've probably lost your entire team.